Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your man, Tim Swain. As you can see, I'm in an amazing place. Why? Because we're talking about customer service right here in the country, and I have none other than the managing director of Versace Collection in Ghana. Hilda, it is so good to see you in person. We have connected, online and, through IG, and, that's that whole digital world that we're living in.
Exactly.
And I know you are extremely busy. So to get some of your time is a pleasure. So thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you for having me, Tim. Thank you so much.
And I know you've done a lot of other interviews, and the focus of today won't necessarily be a transition to Ghana and all that. But for the folks who may be seeing you for the first time, just give us a brief snapshot of, once again, your name and then what you're actually doing here in Ghana.
Great. So I'm Hilda Boateng, and I'm the managing director of Versace Collection Ghana here at Kempinski Hotel. So I come from a luxury retail background. I've worked for Louis Vuitton for 5 years prior, Louis Vuitton in Canada and Louis Vuitton in London, England. And then I came to Ghana, and now I'm here creating luxury here as well. So it's nice to be home and actually be able to do something that I love and know so much of.
Wow.
Yes.
It's very nice. Glassing.
Yeah, glassing.
Everywhere.
I like the tree. That's good.
So, we're talking about customer service, and so we're going to jump straight into it. You came from Canada to come back home. When you came back, right, what was your impression of the culture of customer service in general in Ghana?
I mean, to be quite fair, I've been coming to Ghana for a few years now, and I've definitely seen progression in regards to customer service. But I find a lot of people that I know who are expats who are visiting or live here from overseas, we seem to have an alignment of the same experiences when it comes to lack of customer service. There is an idea of people being pleasant and kind, but there's a lack of development when it comes to understanding the client, social cues, for instance, just little things. And I feel like it's those little things that can possibly hinder or displease a client or displease a guest. It's the little things that can just be shaped and formed. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, in some way, it's like we're not too far gone, because there is, with customer service, it's all about skill and training, essentially, but it's just a matter of that implementation and that sort of like, that perseverance from the top to get it done right? But then on the flip side, obviously having a manager or having an employer training their staff intensely, but also the locals or people who work in Ghana having a sense of ownership and ambassadorship. That's what I like to look for, or that's what I hope for when I meet someone, is that sense of ambassadorship. Caring for the business, caring for the job, the position, caring about the customer's experience, right? It starts from within before it's able to actually come out and surface. Okay. So that's another thing I find that needs to be. I have had experiences where I would go somewhere and I would always say, you have such a beautiful thing here, like the larger scale, beautiful establishment, beautiful aesthetic. You did everything else right, but then the people ruined the experience. And I'm like, how does that happen? Something that can be controlled, right? How does that happen? And with your question, I think the mentality and as to why, and I think sometimes it can be a lack of motivation, and sometimes it can be a lack of pay. That's one thing we don't look at sometimes. If you fuel and you empower an individual with the right resources, from their pay to knowledge, then you get it back, right? And sometimes the blame isn't so much on the individual that's serving. It can be from the background. It can be from abuse. It can be from lack of knowledge. It can be from lack of training. And like I said, it can be from pay. That saying of what you pay is what you get.
Yeah.
And so if you're really investing in an individual and it's present, I feel like you would likely get that on the flip side. So I think it starts from the top as well.
Okay.
I think that as well. And then secondly, that mentality of, I think, critical thinking and the idea of empathy. I train this in my space here at Versace Collection, empathizing with the client and putting yourself in their shoes. And I always discuss, if you were this person and you were sitting there and you're waiting for a menu, you're waiting to be served, the people are monopolizing your time. You're sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. How would you feel? You know what I'm saying? And I would bring up even life scenarios on people having to make you wait. Even a friend, and you went out to a restaurant and they showed up an hour or 2 hours late, and how did you feel? And I feel like with that, that search for empathy, and I said social cues, right? Sometimes it's a matter of, is it clicking that I'm sitting here, do you see me, I'm present, your purpose is to serve me, but you're being nonchalant, you're being effortless, you're talking to your colleague, what about me, right? The whole idea is that you're here to help me be pleased, right? So there's a lot of things to look at when it comes to the dynamic of customer service.
Now someone would say, because I'm a Westerner, I'm a foreigner. Somebody say you shouldn't come to Ghana with these high expectations, with that Western mind, thinking that it revolves around you. This is just how we do it in Ghana.
Right. And so when in Rome, do what the Romans do.
Exactly. So. I mean, what would your response be to that, right? For someone who says, well, this is just how we do in Ghana, so you shouldn't come in expecting, the world to revolve around you because you come from
overseas. I've been slapped with that as well, that when you're here, you gotta take it easy and lessen your standards. And I think it's because I'm an ambassador of service. I do feel the need to speak up when it's really not up to standard, but I do in a way where I won't step on that person's toe. I won't call the manager and I'll talk to the person individually, right?
Really?
Absolutely.
Wow, you have the time to do that.
I have the time to do that.
That's amazing.
Because in Ghana, there's a sense of brotherhood and sisterhood.
Yeah, it's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you get on that level of, listen, my sister, let me talk to you. My brother, let me talk to you. I'm not here to step on your toes, because this is your livelihood. This is how you make an earning.
Yeah.
And I don't want to now go to your boss and slander you or put you down when this can be talked.
It's true.
Do you see what I mean?
I get what you're saying.
So I get on that level and I say, listen, I've been sitting here for so and so X amount, whatever the scenario is, I'll play it out to them and say, this is not okay. And if I care enough, or I feel like you have the capacity, or you have if I feel like you actually take it in as constructive criticism, then I will say that to you, right? But the idea of lowering my standards, I can't, in a sense of, this is how I am, this is how I think, this is where I come from, in the sense of customer service and customer care. And because I represent customer service myself, I give 101% all the time to my clients. 101%. So when I go out, I expect the same, and I don't know how to take it when I don't get the same thing. I'm like, what's going on?
I was saying that when I first came to Ghana, it was so difficult because my experience would either be I would have an amazing product, but the service ruined it.
Absolutely.
And I've had so many experiences where I used to. I have to take from you now, because I used to try to help the person, like my sister, my brother. Then I was like, oh, Charlie, I'm leaving.
Yeah,
I'm not coming back. But I want to go back to something that you said that's critical, especially for folks who will come to Ghana and have a bad customer service experience. You mentioned that sometimes it's not the person, it starts from the top. How does it impact money, customers?
Huge. You lose a reoccurring customer. You lose clientele, bad word of mouth. Your legacy, your integrity of your brand is out the window. But that's the thing, right? We can look at it on the long term, but sometimes what I found with the business owners here, they think about the active now. It's the present time. They don't see the future sometimes. They see it as, I want my money now, I want my money today.
Wow.
And so they don't see the growing customer. And if it works for them, they see it as, well, if you leave, someone else is going to come.
Yeah.
And I mean, a real business person who maps out a plan, they have to see it as, I can laugh today and cry tomorrow, right? So I have to be able to develop this client. I have to be able to build a relationship. I have to be able to clientele properly. So, I mean, some people do grasp that.
Yeah.
And I'll go places and I'll get the apologies from the owners and managers. I'll get the apology from the staff saying, listen, we're very sorry you had to experience this. We're going to fix this. And that's very, very pleasing to hear that we know we got it wrong. We're sorry. We're going to work on that for next time. But there's sometimes the boss that is defensive and says, no, we are not wrong. And this is how we do things, how we run things here. This is how we run the show. And sometimes it's like, okay, well, if that ship has already sailed, then I'm not going to come back here ever again. And my business is not just me, it's a business of many others that you just lost. And see, that idea of customer service can be in any spectrum around the world, right? Lack of customer service can be in any spectrum around the world. But I feel like as business owners and people who are entrepreneurial, you have to think about the long term. Absolutely.
If somebody's watching this, they are starting that business here in Ghana, anywhere else in the world, or even thinking about coming to Ghana and starting that business, what would you say would be some real tips you would give that person to really help them understand the magnitude of customer service and how it impacts that bottom line, which is profit?
Yes. I definitely think fueling good training into your sales associates, whether it's your PAs, whoever works for you, take the time and strategize. If you have to hire a third party to help assist you when it comes to training modules or training programs, whatever it takes, it's so important because sometimes just the lack of knowledge is what is hindering that success of your business. So if you're fueling in that person, I'm sure you would get the outcome. Because I spoke to you earlier about walking into certain places and almost immediately when you walk in, you're like, man, this place, they're up to speed. Like how they greet you down to when you're seated, and you're saying whoever runs this establishment is doing their job right. And you need to feel that when you walk in. You got to feel this sense of like comfort, this sense of gratitude, appreciation, reception. Super important. Another thing as well is to really understand the types of clients you're going to get, because there's all types of people, all types of statuses, all types of classes. And I feel like you have to, it's like having to understand and measure yourself to that individual. It's like having a child, right? When you see a child, you go on their level. When you speak to an adult, you go on their level. You have to be able to, it's socialism. You have to know how to deal with different people at any certain time. Also, I feel like you shouldn't, in Ghana, in order to be successful, you need to really be hands-on.
I've heard that a lot. What does that really mean?
Okay. With my managing skills, the way I am as a person, nothing goes past me. I notice everything. I'm very attentive to every single aspect of my business, whether it's finance, whether it's trainings, whether it's hiring, every aspect. And I think if you are that vigilant in your business, then the people can see that you care so much, and they're going to also reciprocate that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So a sense of balance and being hands-on. I've always said the bosses that I respected the most were the ones that got their hands dirty with me, not the ones that delegated and appointed and said, do this and do that. In my space here, I'm in Ghana, and there's a culture of madame and boss, right?
Yeah.
Become a madame does not mean I cannot work with my associate, right? I don't believe in that top-down management. I'm very liberal. I'm very, very open about communication. I love my team able to communicate back to me and tell me how they feel, how they think. I want to hear your voice. I want to empower you. I'm not here to dumb you down. I want to see how you think, because I want to be able to give you wings so you can fly as well. And it's super important to me, the idea of being able to create that very welcoming and healthy working environment. Super important.
Now, how do you do that and not allow yourself to be taken advantage of by people who may have been in a system where they're so used to having someone tell them what to do, how to do it, when to do it?
So when you're kind, they don't know how to take kindness.
So how do you balance with giving them that kind of autonomy to grow and develop, and at the same time not being taken advantage of and potentially hurting your business?
Perfect. Accountability, big one. So just like back home, we have write-ups, we have warnings, right? I document it. I record it. I put dates. I write down what happened, what took place.
Y'all need to be taking notes.
This
is free game she's giving. Y'all need to be taking notes.
Accountability, and it's so important because when it's mapped out in front of them, And I give them warnings. I say, listen, I'm giving you 4 warnings.
Hey.
Right? Versus it sort of going like, this happened today, and then it's happening continuously, and it's a back and forth. Because then it's like you now start to lose count as to what's really going on in your business. I talk about not letting one pass you.
Wow.
Don't let anything pass you. So accountability. So listen, I've been observing you, and I see that you know, there's a reoccurring issue. I'm going to address it, right? This is your first warning. Boom, 3 warnings. Boom, 3 write-ups, right? I give 5.
You are very nice.
I give 5.
You have to accommodate for the culture.
Yeah. The culture and traffic and tardiness and look at the bigger picture,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So I give 5 warnings. And after that, it's if I say I have to discuss your future here in this business, right? And when we sit down, look at all the chances I've given you, they themselves can't help but put their arms up and say, hey, listen, I surrender. I did mess up in this business. And I think when you do that, when you have it recorded, they can say, man, that's 2 strikes. I gotta get my act together.
Wow.
That's 3 strikes. I gotta get my act together.
Wow. You know what? No, seriously, this is really helping me because I've had scenarios where I've employed some folks to do some things, and coming with this mentality of like the whole like let me develop and all that, but I wasn't as stringent on when I see something that's going off course, I'm going to correct it. I'm like, this is Ghana, so I won't say anything.
Yeah.
But then inevitably, what happened was the little issue became bigger,
very good,
and bigger,
very good,
and bigger.
You lost control,
and I lost control, and I had to sack the person. I had to terminate the person.
Yeah, but in a way where the bridge was burnt in a very harsh way. It wasn't a way
exactly
you wanted to
exactly right. So if I had been able to probably had this interview before I had that interaction, I probably would have had that person. But what you're saying makes so much sense.
Yes.
Now I want to turn it to the eyes of the person that's coming in as a foreigner who gets this harsh, let's say, customer service experience. From the inside, we know how we can help our employees to basically have better customer service. But if you're coming from the outside, how can you help them contextualize what they're seeing and experiencing? If they go to the restaurant and they have to, or if the person is charging them this much, like what should they know to, when should they know to speak up and say something?
Okay.
Or if it's them just having this
generalization, stereotypes. Yeah. Okay. Well, pick your battles. I mean, sometimes some things can just be, have a blind eye towards it. Not a big deal. It's not a big deal. But if something truly offends you, I think it's a matter of addressing it to the person. Now, and it's funny. I did mention this earlier, and maybe I'm contradicting myself, but because there's not a complaining culture. People don't know how to complain on each other because they don't want to get people in trouble. And sometimes by doing that, we're not necessarily helping the situation, the business or the person, because we don't want to get people in trouble.
Yeah.
We come from a place where there's a big complaining culture.
Yes.
They do.
Let me talk to the manager right now.
And we're entitled sometimes.
It's true.
We're very entitled because of that. And we have rate us and assessments and surveys and all these things after the fact because they're telling us, listen, we want to know how well we did and also how bad we did. And when we come here, it's almost in us to just get rattled up and go, let me talk to the manager right now. But see, Ghanaians are normally timid and meek. And so that brings fear in a sense of, oh my God, I'm gonna get in trouble. So my point is this. If you are a manager and someone comes to you and complains, take that complaint, that constructive criticism, but don't use it as a way to lash back at your associate. Because that intimidation comes on so many ends, right? That fear of me telling the boss, because what is the boss going to do to the associate?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If I tell the boss, take that constructive criticism and use it as a seed to grow that individual, not a way to lash at the person and sabotage the person and get out and no, right? Because then the person's always going to be scared that if I do something wrong now, what are the consequences, right? And then your business can never grow. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. I want to end with a couple things.
Yeah.
I want to, you don't have to say any names or anything. I want to get maybe one of your worst customer service experiences.
Oh, wow, okay.
And then one of your absolute best.
Okay.
That you received.
Okay, my worst. Oh dear. Okay, well, it had to do with these online businesses on Instagram. There's no web page, no storefront, but they these are boss lady madames, you know,
Yes.
and this is how they run their show. So anyways, I asked to purchase something, but whenever I want to see something, obviously, if you're not providing me with the resource to go and look at it, I'm asking to see it, because in any product or service world, I have the right to see what I want to buy
Exactly.
before I purchase it.
Yes.
It is my right, and that's how it's been since the beginning of time. But there's this thing in Ghana where it's pay first, and then you get it later, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
but can I see what I'm getting? And so when I got in there, it was, it's sold. It's sold. And it's like, okay, well, you know, I was a prospect client. I said I was interested in the item. I'm a potential customer. Because I didn't pay for it yet, because I wanted to see it. Because someone said I want it, that sort of integrity of, well, someone actually is interested in it, it is put aside. If she doesn't purchase it, I will call you back. And then you can come. But instead, it's like the money matters more. And so the person was able to get this item prior to me. And I thought to myself, okay, well, that's not really nice. But it is what it is, right? Then it happened a second time. And when I spoke to this lady, I said to her, listen, like, you know, I work in retail as well. I work in a business like very similar to yours. And this is not decent, but I remember the attitude, the sass, like the fire in her. Like, it was more than me, and I was a complaining customer. I thought, my God, like, how am I the one complaining? And your voice is louder than me. You know, and just, I thought to myself, man, like, you know what? It's fine. I won't come for the service next time. I'll come for the product, because the product is good. I told her that, right? And then it happened another time.
Hey!
Yes, sir.
The same place.
The same place.
They must have had whatever they had. It must have been good.
It was good enough, but at that point I said, you know what? I said to her, lady, you know what? This might work for you here, but in the real world, this is not ethical. It's unethical the way you operate. I said to her that I wish you the best, but you lost a very good client, and that was it. But my point is that what I find sometimes is when you do speak from a genuine place of being displeased and saying, listen, like, I don't like how you're treating me. Don't put conditions on my money like that. I want to spend, but I need you to do better on your part. And then you get a fighting business owner. That's the stuff I don't like. Yeah, there's no empathy, there's no regard, there's no remorse. It's like, if you don't like it, good luck and good riddance. That stuff I do not like. Because in my space, if a customer comes here with the slightest disappointment, I take it full degree, right? But you can defend the prestige of your business. If you want to be defensive, you can defend the prestige of your business, but know how. Know the tone, know the words, and apologize, but really, really mean it, right? These sort of things. But when it comes to the positive side,
one of the best customer services.
One of the best customer services. Okay, well, I had purchased something, and it was sent to me, and it was the wrong size, and I had to order the item that same very night. So I'd gone out, and I'm obviously that's all I packed to go out to this event. And so I had to message the madame. I said, listen, like, I have to wear this outfit, but it's not the size I requested for. And I've bought it a couple times with you before in that size I requested for. And she was so kind enough to say to me, wear it out. When you get back to work the next day, I'll send you another one.
Wow.
Because it was not your fault.
Wow.
Yeah, so one thing in Ghana is it's very rare for a business to cut their losses. The language of refunding, the language of a free one is very rare.
Yeah.
And that comes from for other reasons too.
Yeah.
The economy can come from, their supply and all these things. And so I can't even, knock that. But for someone to say, hey, I'm gonna give you another one. And I said to her, because you did that, the one I wore, I'm gonna give it back to you. I don't want you to think that I'm trying to take advantage of your establishment or take an extra item for free. I'll give the one I'll give back to you, and then we're both sort of pleased. And I just thought to myself, wow, that service, that was above and beyond.
Wow.
And that was very satisfying. That's customer satisfaction at its finest.
Now, does that person have a customer for life in you?
I'll say that again.
Does that business have a customer for life at this
Absolutely.
point?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Non-negotiable.
Wow,
Yeah.
this has been such a great conversation, and I know people have taken a lot from it. I mean, the nuggets that you drop, especially when you start talking about the trainings and really those written, that was so. I mean, I was really like, I need to be doing this myself. I need to get on my own stuff.
Oh, I'm glad.
So I'm really grateful for any final words for anyone that's watching this. You know, I want you to do this. I want you to speak to the person right now, that emerging business owner right here in Ghana. They have a vision for what they want to do to make the country better, to make money. I don't know. What's one tip you would give them as they're starting their business around customer service?
I always say this: just because you're serving does not mean you're a servant. I quote that from the movie Jennifer Lopez, A Maid in Manhattan.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it's really important, because if you're in a business where you're dealing with the public, dealing with people, you have to be a people person, and you have to do it not because of the money. Yeah, you have to be commercial mindset, but empathy. Really, really do it for the people themselves. When you come to Ghana, by the way, come to Ghana, do it. But empathy. I scream that with all my heart, because that's how I operate, and everything I do. In my workspace, when I deal with people, when I deal with my client advisor, even on the inside, I say this as well, I tell Prosper all the time, Prosper, you're giving luxury on the outside, but also give luxury on the inside. So luxury internally and externally. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so if you're gonna give it to people on the outside, give it to the inside, give it to your associates. Give them the best like you give your customer the best.
Wow.
I believe in that.
Wow.
Because you can't tell someone to go out there and preach it, and they're not getting it themselves.
Wow. Those are really wise words. Do you do trainings on customer service?
I do.
Okay, we'll make sure to have all your information. Well, actually, all of our information is in the description. So if you're watching this right now, you know, here in Ghana and wherever she services, and you want to have her come out and do some trainings on customer service to help your business, the information is right there. And as you heard, this was just a snippet. So imagine what happens when she comes to your business and unload the full package of all this wisdom and experience globally. So once again, thank you so much for being with me today. It's been a wonderful conversation. And thank you guys so much. I know you learned a lot. As always, if you like this content, make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe. Until next time.